Hello and welcome to Gadget Joe, and today we're going to take a look at Let's Talk Tech, but this time it's a little bit special because we've got a guest host on there, and that is only Adam, as we see here. I'm going to let Adam introduce himself to you now.
Hi, I'm Adam. That's me. What else do you want to know?
Adam's got his own company where he does like IT services called IT Adam. And he's also known as Admodz, who's doing a little work at the moment with quite an exciting project. But we'll come on to that in a little bit, because that's one of the topics for today. We've got quite a few topics today, but the first one is a bit of an apology for it being a late video. We did actually record this last week, but some numpty decided to not record any audio on my side. So we've had to record it again. It has fallen on the day that Donald Trump has just become president, so I know that this is probably going to get a bit washed to the side a little bit, but it's one of them things. It's in the news. He's a president now. I'm already bored of hearing about it. I don't think it's going to affect the UK too much. Don't know about people over in USA and Canada, how it'll exactly work. I ain't really been following it, just knowing that it's not very popular. But I'm trying not to. I don't think we should distract it from computing, which is what I've seen. A lot of groups have been doing the same thing, where they're just talking about the elections. Probably because most of them are from America, and obviously it's big news over there. But I don't think it'll have any impact on the computing world, as in what's made and the prices, etc. But yeah, so that's that. Got a few topics today. We've got the new Apple Macbook Pro. We've got the Galaxy Note 7 being completely recalled. We've got Vine and Vessel are both dead. We've got boosted battery problems, and I've boosted obviously the boosted boards. You'll probably see them by Casey Neistat, who's one of the more popular users. And Project Glacier, and quite a few other little things basically. First topic off the board is the Apple MacBook Pro. Now recently there was a keynote and they announced the Apple MacBook Pro. What they did is they took away the MacBook Air, if I think rightly, and they called them all the Pro. And you've got the 13-inch model and the 15-inch model. The 13-inch model you get two variants, and the 15-inch model you get two variants.
That's right.
Calling it Pro is a little bit controversial, especially when there's two Pros in the same range. But the other than that, there's not a lot of improvements what they've done. What they've done is they've basically introduced this little touch bar. And I don't actually think it's available on the 13-inch, the lower priced 13-inch MacBook Pro. I think it's only on the higher priced one. And then the same again on the 15-inch. But also they've taken away the SD card and the USB slots.
Yep.
Which, in my opinion, is incredibly risky. A lot of people use SD cards and USB slots. I mean, that's probably something that, if I was to ever get one, that would probably put me off a little bit, I think, because you can get adapters for them. But then you end up with about 15 adapters just to be able to use anything, basically.
Well, you've got the USB Type-C on there.
They have, the Thunderbolt. It's a variant of it as well, isn't it? So it's not actually USB Type-C.
No, you can get the adapters, which I think they're working out about £16, which you can connect any USB to it. So it's not a major deal, but the SD card side of it, then, I know a lot of clients who use those. So
that's it. I mean, most people that tend to get MacBook Pro, they don't often use them for gaming. It's more for editing. So if you've got your camera and you're trying to take your footage from there, I know you could use it through USB, but it's easy to just take the card out, put it in, and do it. So I know a lot of people will miss it on that sense. The specs-wise, they've claimed an improvement on the graphics side, which means gaming. But even then, it's still not a massive improvement. It's still obviously AMD have taken on the GPUs on this time. But I think it's only an R7 range, so I don't know if it's anything. I'd imagine it'll be a 2GB VRAM speed.
Yeah. But no M2 SSD, they're still using the SATA 3. They haven't gone with the M2 route, so
they've fallen back a bit, I think, in my opinion. I mean, I've got nothing against Apple products. My wife's a big believer in Apple products, and I think they work really well. They look good. The software is faultless, but they're just not keeping up with trends. When you can get a price, especially for the price of what you have to get them for, starting from £2,000 up to £3,500, you can get a computer for half the price with double the amount of specifications.
You can.
And I just don't think it's a very wise move. I know obviously they've improved the CPUs. They're now using i5 on the 13-inch and the i7 on the 15-inch. And it's going to be faster. I mean, there's been a lot of reviews out now. Obviously, this is now quite old news. It's been out and released now for about 2 weeks. But there is a lot faster. They are a lot faster. When it comes to video editing, they trump pretty much any laptop going, unless you're going for like the Acer 21X or something like that. But then you're not really talking laptops then. You're talking desktops with a screen attached. But not a best move in my opinion.
No. We'll see how they pan out with...
Yeah, they'll still sell because people are Apple enthusiasts and they want it for the name.
They do.
But I think they're going to get a bit of flack for the SD card style thing. I've seen someone doing a YouTube video on one, and they had to use 4 different adapters on it and this was to connect it to their iPhone 7 as well. Mm-hmm. Which again is another topic, I suppose, because you've got the iPhone 7 and you need adapters to be able to get it to work. You can charge it, but you can't use the headphones at the same time. And I know you can buy cheap adapters for them now. What's wrong with just a headphone jack? What's wrong with just keeping it in? It doesn't take any space, really.
It's everything. Everything's getting thinner, lighter. That's the way all technology is going now. It's they're trying to get it as compact and sleek as possible.
I suppose it's practicality over functionality, isn't it? Wow. But then again, practicality-wise, it's not practical. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of Macbook Pros on that sense. Moving on, the Galaxy Note 7. Obviously, there was exploding. They did a recall. They started swapping out handsets, and the ones that they swapped out started exploding. Yeah. There was a couple of serious incidents, one on a plane that set off. Luckily, it didn't get any further. One of them, I think, burnt down someone's Jeep. And luckily, no one was hurt on that sense, but there has been injuries. So Samsung have decided now to recall it altogether. They've taken off the production line. It's no longer supported either, which is quite new as well, because there's still people that use them.
Yeah.
And they were urging them not to use it, and people were going, "Oh, it won't happen to me." So what they've just recently done is they've now stopped sending any signal to them. They're basically bricking these people's phones, which again could be controversial. But they've given more than enough warning on this. Samsung have taken a lot of controversy on this side.
They have.
But in fairness to them, I think they've handled it quite well. They offered a solution. It didn't work out for them. They've offered another solution. They even paid people to bring their phones back in. They didn't just get the price of a phone. You got an extra £25 on top. Mm-hmm. And then if you stayed with Samsung, went with another Samsung phone, they give you up to £100 back.
Up to £100, yeah.
Which is right on their sense, but there's the main problem is what people are avoiding the fault from is more slating Samsung. What they need to do is consider why it's doing it. I know they sent devices away to try and work out the cause to it, but it's something that you've mentioned quite a few times before. It's basically because everything is trying to get into smaller sizes now. More power in a smaller package. And when you're going to sacrifice size, but you need more power, you're going to end up with heat.
That's right.
And these batteries that have got to take up the majority of the space on the phones, they're going to generate even more heat. And because they're smaller, there's no space for cooling, which is one of the reasons that most computers that you see, if you're not really a computer enthusiast and you're wondering why we have these massive towers, it's all to do with heat management. More space so the system runs better. Not only does it impact the phones themselves with the heat, when it gets hot they start to function not properly. That wasn't very good English, that was it? But
it's when they charge the battery as well. As the battery gets heat from the charging, so it's
because of the quick charging, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not having a rest. You know, it's not giving it a chance to get the heat away because people charging their phones. Then when using them, the heat's there all the time. So
yeah, it's something that's been seen in quite a few devices. It's not just Samsung Note 7. There has been incidents like this before on other products. Samsung again have got another phone which I don't know a lot of information about, but I've seen it yesterday. For the phone that they sell in Korea. I think it's an A8 or something like that, but it's that one's starting to do the same thing. But they use the same battery and the same chassis as the Note 7. So,
right. So if there's going to be any issues there, I don't know.
That's it, yeah. And then obviously they've got the washing machines. They've been blowing up left, right, and centre.
Yes.
They're not having a very good year, are they, really?
Not really.
But there's not a lot they can do. I mean, anybody that's using a Note 7 that's watching it just happens to have one left. Don't keep hold of it. Just send it back into Samsung. Get your money back, because they will get to a point where they won't give you any money back. Mm-hmm. Because it's a risk. It's a fire risk. Even now, if it's not done it now, doesn't mean it's not going to do it.
Wow.
I personally wouldn't risk it.
No.
Not for myself, but for my family, the kids and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's pretty much it on the Samsung Note 7. Mm-hmm. Moving on to heat, we've got Boosted. Now, Boosted make electric skateboards, and
they do.
They travel up to 30 miles an hour. But I don't know if you've seen the boards. If you watch other YouTubers like Casey Neistat, like I mentioned earlier, he's a big user of this board. Pretty much every one of his videos has got him on a Boosted board. How they work is it's like a normal skateboard. I think it's a long board, and it's got the 4 wheels, but it's got like a little battery pack underneath it with the motors. You control it by a Bluetooth handset, and again, you just go through the streets up to 30 miles an hour. It's going to naturally generate heat anyway, but because it's outside and it's getting a lot of wind on it, it was generally deemed quite safe. They released a Note Series Generation 2 board, and they've had to recall them all because they were overheating. And they issued a bit of a warning out saying, look, if it starts smoking or venting, get off it. Not that you would sort of...
Give it some more so we get some flames going. Might go faster.
Yeah. But they've gone the right way about it. They've contacted because when you buy a Boosted board, it's not like a mobile phone where it's available in the millions. They're quite a unique product, so there's only probably going to be thousands of them actually available anyway. So they've contacted each person that's bought one, and have said, look, send it back to us. We'll swap it all out and get it back to normal. They've not determined the real reason to the heat, but I don't know if it's because it's very heavily waterproof, which in a small unit, it's obviously packed everything into the unit, and then it's got a lot of plastic around it. And then as you go in 30 miles an hour, you're putting a lot of pressure on that motor, especially if you're a heavier person. Then obviously it's going to be using up on that. Next, we have Vine and Vessel. I'm not going to go into them too much. It's been all over YouTube now. Vine, of course, is the 6-second clips app. Effectively, it was bought out by, I think it was actually owned by Twitter. They'd wanted a separate app because a lot of originally the Twitter videos were only short videos anyway, and it was people that would just be idiots on the videos and just. And it was just, it went quite popular. There was a lot of people that made good money from it. A lot of big YouTubers actually use it. My daughter watches one who's Daz Black, and he was a Viner. He used it all. He got Vine to get him where he is now, and obviously now as a YouTuber. But it got abused a lot. There was a lot of naughty stuff put on there, which shouldn't have been put on there. And then obviously they imposed because it was so easy to do it. As soon as you take the video, it's up. They installed a new rules on there effectively to say that you're not allowed to do this. If anyone that does it can get banned. It got ignored. It was very heavily policed. There was a lot of bad language on there. It was good. I mean, I've never used it myself. I only seen a few that my daughter used to watch. Where it was like YouTube videos of them over and over again. But it's just gone. They've closed it down. It wasn't obviously making them money. It probably cost them more to police it than it did to keep it running. Didn't really make any money in because it wasn't a form of revenue that you could gain from it. There was no adverts available for it. So I suppose it was just a lost cause. Has now been bought out by Pornhub, which is a story on its own.
Yes.
And I think it might actually work like that. Obviously, it's going to be limited to people over 18, and but I suppose something like that, that was as easy to put stuff like that on there, it's going to be perfect under the hands of them. Yeah, I don't really know much more about it. I just know that Pornhub bought it out. And then moving on to Vessel. Vessel has well, it's already closed down now. It's no longer. Vessel was an alternative to YouTube. It worked in the sense of that you created videos and it was unique content. People sign up and they say, oh, I want to look at technology videos, and it'll suggest just these technology videos, whereas YouTube is an open broadcast, so everything. But you had to pay for it. It wasn't a lot. Some of them were like pence for a full-time subscription. Some of them you had to pay like £5.99 a month. Linus Tech Tips, we were a big user of it. Don't know how much they charged. I think it was $6.99 a month.
I'm not for sure.
But then you'd get exclusive content. They would release what's on YouTube a week earlier, so you'd be able to see content a lot quicker. And it was just more generalised around what you want to see, which was good. I thought it was a good idea, but it obviously didn't make enough money, or it's too many people not wanting to pay, basically. If they can wait a week and get it on YouTube for free, then they're not going to do it. We live in a nation where people don't want to pay money for anything nowadays, especially when you can get like the Kodi boxes. You've got YouTube, you can download content. People just don't want to pay. Paying an extra £6 a month is enough to put people off, which is a shame, because I think it could work. It could have worked if they'd implemented it a little bit differently, or even if they got on alongside YouTube maybe and had a bit more backing from someone like that.
It's not something I know a lot about. I never used it. I've seen it advertised, but I never used it myself. So
yeah, that's it. But it wasn't advertised enough. I only found out about it through Linus mentioning it in one of his videos. Other than that, I didn't know anything about it. It wasn't advertised, like I say. It was just a lost cause, basically. Maybe a little bit too.
It worked for him. It worked for him for the time he had it, so it's must have made him some money.
Oh yeah. Be nice to make a bit of money like that, wouldn't it?
It would be, yes.
Right, next one is the Microsoft Surface Studio. Now this one is something I'm quite excited about. Not that I'll ever be able to afford to get it, but it's basically a big monitor is your computer. It's an all-in-one, but it's a 28-inch screen, which is better than 4K, which is, I think it's 4.5K. And you can do everything on it. It's more for editors, it's more for graphic designers, it's more for people that need to be a bit more hands-on, because obviously you can tilt the screen down with those hinges to be able to use it on your table, and you get the little mouse which effectively sticks to the screen, and then you just scroll through and you can tap it. A lot of the videos that you see on the internet are people drawing on it.
It's not a tablet you can put in your bag and carry around.
No, it's not. You could probably ride on it, I think. But
they look good. Quality looks good out of them. The speeds are looking good, and
it's got good processors in it.
Yeah, it's pretty good spec. Even they're using the M2, and it's basically you do all your drawing as anything you do on a computer you can do on one of those, and sometimes better and quicker.
Yeah, you've got to see i5 and i7 in there. I don't think it's Kaby Lake. I think it's Skylake in there.
Skylake, yeah.
Is it Skylake in there? Yeah. You've got from anywhere from 8 to 32 gigabyte of RAM in there. And then you've got a GTX 965 or a 980M, which are the mobile variants of the original ones, but there's still more than enough to do gaming on it. a lot of the later titles, you're not going to take advantage of that giant screen in 4K, but you'll still be able to play it in very good quality. It's not just a screen as well. It obviously lifts up and you've got the keyboard, and it is a full functioning computer.
It is.
Prices, it's not cheap.
No.
3,000 upwards.
Yeah.
But it will naturally fall down.
In time.
A while. Yeah. I know Dell have just released their own version of it as well and called it the Surface Studio, the same price name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any details about that one, but I think you're going to see a lot of them now that are very similar, because it's a new design. It's something that people are taking on board, and it could go either way. It could stay with Microsoft and Dell, or you can just see an influx of them, and then all of a sudden the design and the idea will just be a bit of a lost cause. Hopefully not, because it does look pretty special. I think it'll do well for Microsoft.
Yeah, it will.
And finally, well, not finally, we've got a few more topics. Thermaltake are announcing a lot of new cases. If you've got Kenny on Facebook, Kenny Lynn is the CEO of Thermaltake. You can always go and look on Facebook and follow him. He's announced a lot of the new tempered glass ranges of their existing cases. They have released a Tower 900 as well, which I suppose we can talk about it. We're not reviewing it. It's got an NDA on it for video-wise, but we're just talking about it, so we're not actually showing it. It's basically essentially a giant fish tank turned on its side. It looks really good as well. That's something that's quite exciting. I don't know the prices of it yet. Again, it's tempered glass. Ideal for a home server or real enthusiast. It could be anyone really. But
and any build, to go and show in your little man cave or your little room, and it's you make it how you want it. There's some big possibilities for it, for design wise, and
that's it, because it takes support for every board as well, doesn't it? So it's got and you can actually mount it sideways as flat. Anyway, from what I've seen. And then you've got the tempered glass ranges, which is like the Core P5, the Core X71, the X31, which are basically the original products. There's no change, but they've added tempered glass, so it looks cleaner. It'll be a lot heavier. A lot of them were acrylic, so it'll be clearer. And I think it's a good move, especially the P5. I'm quite intrigued by the sides that is put on it, which actually you can buy now as a kit to change your existing one.
Yes.
So you don't have to buy a whole new case altogether, which I think is good.
It's good. I don't know if they're bringing them out for the P3, are they?
I don't know. I ain't heard anything.
I haven't heard nothing on the P3. So.
I think maybe they're trying to keep the P3 as their bottom range of the two. The only difference is size. The P5 is a bigger board, a bigger unit, sorry. Be good if they do. I think they should do. But then again, there's obviously more cases online as well. There's not just the three we've mentioned. They'll be doing a lot more cases. I don't know if it's true or not, but I know they're working on a new design altogether, which should be announced the same time the NDA finishes on the Tower 900. But that's just hearsay, so I might not be right on that one. But I do think it's a good move. Keeping up with the competition, there's cases everywhere now. It's like GPUs. The amount of GPUs that have come out, and now they're trying to keep up the cases to match them.
Yeah. But
they need to start focusing on the CPUs. And
there's some nice cases out there now. There's some really good looking ones, and some exciting ones for the future as well.
Yes. Moving on to, quite conveniently, the Project Glacier. I'm going to let you introduce that one because that's your baby.
Oh. My baby, my baby's, okay. Project Glacier. Just a design that came to me, and after messing around with a little bit of software, I'd seen your one on the SketchUp the other day. I do a lot of freehand drawings, so I tend to stay away from the software. I made a life-size model of Glacier out of cardboard and tubes, just so I could see what the actual dimensions I was going to be playing with. It's big, heavy, and It's coming on. It's, I'm ready for a dry assembly next week.
Yes.
That is planned for Tuesday. Once I've got that fully assembled and the parts are all back from the machine shop, we've had a bit of a thread problem for one component going into the fittings. So that's now been rectified and sorted. So they are all good. Get it assembled, and I know when then to put the pass-throughs. I've got 2 ideas for the pass-throughs for it, so I can drop it down through each level. I just want to see myself which one looks better.
Yes,
I worry about what people think, how it's going to look, but it's got to look right in my eyes before I let anybody else see it.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
So I've got 2 ideas which way I'm going to run the tube down through the pass-throughs. I'm going to try both. I've got the acrylic to do that. The spaces in the frame to do both anyway, so I know the P3 chassis inside out, and very good metal on it they've used. It's a very sturdy case, but once I started cutting my stuff out of it, it became a very flimsy case, so I had to reinforce it. So that's all good now. We made a life-size model of it. We took it for a wheel around the house, took it upstairs, different carpets, laminate, tile, just to see how rigid and strong it was. And it was very strong. There was no twist in the frame at all. So my fabrication skills on the support frame's done well. It's coming together. So also looking good.
Yes, I'll put a couple of pictures of the stages at the moment, which you can actually see if you follow Adam on his Facebook page. I'm going to link it down in the description below. But just type in Admodz with a Z at the end, and then you'll be able to see the updates of where it's coming. Basically, what it is, it's 3 core P3s from Thermaltake stacked up against each other. Not side by side or on a wall or anything. It's literally on top of each other. It's been heavily sponsored as well, which is fantastic. It's getting a lot of companies involved.
Brilliant.
I know the likes of Scan are getting involved.
They are, yes. Shelley from Scan has been brilliant. So has Gigabyte, Alpha Cool. My acrylic guys, they give me free reign on the best laser cutting machine I've seen in my life. I want one, but I don't have the money to buy one of them. And just a little piece I designed last week and put on there.
Oh, is that the actual one?
That's the actual one. Yeah. 2 more pieces are being lasered this afternoon. They are for the GPU blocks. So I'm going the same sort of route, a blue and a white, and they're a block that sits on the frame that the card will go down into.
Yes.
And the riser cable will be incorporated into that block.
Oh, so it's all sort of hidden away as well.
All hidden away. It's just a GPU will sit into a block, and that's its only support. So
this is because it sounds like it's going to be a very clean cut look.
Clean lines, level. I've gone really strict how level things. It's got to be spot on, otherwise things are not going to line up. It would look out of place. So I've kept things clean lines, clean colours. Things like logos in a clear vinyl or a frosted vinyl. Say look a bit like ice or glass themselves. Yeah. So even though the sponsors' logos are on there, they're not out in your face, and they all seem happy with that. So I've had brilliant support, and it's been excellent so far.
Yes. Yeah, the specs that I'm not going to say too much because obviously it's all going to be revealed soon when it's all done. The specs are very, very respectable. It's going to be a very good build basically, and I'm going to be doing a little feature on that as well. But Adam has got a web page, a YouTube page as well.
Yep.
So again, I'll link that in the description below so you can.
I'm keeping the build logs going on my Admodz website. You can check a link down in the bottom of that. I'm also on the Linus Tech Tips, OC.net.
Yes.
There's a couple of other forums I'm on as well. Just keeping the build logs going up there, keeping everybody up to date. And yeah, it's going well. I'd like to be a little further along, but due to an area I know nothing about, CNC machining wise, it's got to be strong. It just can't be something stuck on there and it being.
That's it. Especially if it's a machine, if it's a build that's going to be carted about a bit, you want something that's going to last, don't you?
Yeah. I had a real good solution for it, but it just wasn't strong enough. Took a lot to get to that solution, but just the strength wasn't there. I needed the strength and the look, so I've got both now. But
yes,
it'll all be good.
That's brilliant. I can't wait to see the result on that one. Adam does have his own business, as I mentioned earlier. He does do modding. He does mostly IT repairs, computer repairs, etc., and servers, I believe it is.
Yeah.
So he does obviously do more than that. But if have you got any new projects lined up? I know obviously you're doing a few bits at the minute, aren't you?
I've had a client contact me. He wants to do a Parvin build, and that is with the 21080s, the new i7.
Yes.
64 gig of RAM. He wants dual loop put in there. So all the components have been ordered for that. We're just waiting for it to be delivered now, and I can get going on there. I've got a Corsair project. I've done some drawings on, and that's all looking good. Yeah. So.
Plenty to keep you busy.
Another few drawings I've done. One for Kenny for Thermaltake, so that drawing's nearly ready to go to him on the new tower. So
yes, yeah, plenty to keep going then. Yeah. One of the last topics as well today is the EVGA 1080s FTW boards. Now this one has been a massively controversial topic. Some of the boards were going up in flames. Some of them were just heating up, like, to an excessive state. I'm actually going to give most of this to Adam because he's done a bit more research on it than I have. It's basically the source of the heat is at the power input, due to some pads missing. But again, I'm not too clued up, so I mean,
I've looked a bit on it, and I've kept an eye on forums and seeing what manufacturers' releases they're doing. They're saying now there's the fix with the pads you can get from EVGA themselves and a BIOS update.
Yes, they're sending them out to people.
That's right. If you're not happy with doing the BIOS update and the pads yourself, they're doing a cross-warranty shipment.
Yeah,
they would do it. They would do it for you. That's very good of them. So, but if you're not confident in updating the BIOS or doing the pads yourself, you can go that way. But the BIOS update is in to ramp the fans up a bit more to help keep it cooler.
Is that the existing fans then? So we don't actually have to change anything out apart from the pads?
Do the thermal pads and update the BIOS, which will ramp the fans up then to help keep it cooler, which they're saying is curing it and it's bringing the temperatures down. So
it's not a major issue that it was made out to be originally then?
I just think it was a bit of a... They forgot it. It's they've done it on all their other cards,
Yes,
and other manufacturers have done it as well. It's just something, they honestly admit it. They missed it out. And
I think they've done well if they're offering to do the repairs as well, or they're making the effort to send it all out.
You ship I read on a forum last night, Kit Guru, I think it was, he said they are doing the cross-warranty now, so you ship them they ship you a new card that's already been done with the pads and the BIOS. You ship them your card, and that's it. They do that work then.
So they're actually doing a like-for-like replacement then?
Like-for-like replacement, yeah.
That's even better, isn't it, really? So, they're obviously going the right way about that. I know, obviously, I think most of it there was that original post that was put on Facebook of one that had set on fire. Mm-hmm. And then, not to poke anything at anybody, but there was a lot of them that probably just jumped on board a little bit and put it, because it only did it when it was under extreme pressure. It was done under a test, wasn't it? Who was running a benchmark on it,
that's right,
which is designed to put them under extreme pressure.
Push them to their limits.
That's it, and obviously it reached to a limit, and people were doing the same thing, maybe in the hope that we will get some compensation. Not all of them, obviously. There was a few of them that were genuine cases. It was very unlikely that it was ever going to heat that much under normal use. If you was using gaming, obviously if you was using it 24 hours non-stop, gaming non-stop, then you probably would get it pretty hot.
The issue isn't there when they're underwater, so it's just when the fan side of it, not everybody can afford to do water cooling or custom loop.
Yes.
The issue's not there when it's underwater. They haven't had any reported issues of it being when it's there, but only when it's running on air. So
that's it. Yeah. So it's and I know Jay's 2 Cents did a good video on it.
He did, yeah.
Explaining it, and quite a few of you YouTubers have done it. It's just one of them things. I think there's been so many things that go wrong, especially with the amount of.
Anybody done a review showing the BIOS update, or?
I don't think so. I've not seen anything.
Yeah, because I think that's what some people are worrying about. They're worried about doing it wrong. But EVGA have said if it bricks it while doing the BIOS update, then your warranty is still valid. They'll still replace it. So
so that's really good from their side.
EVGA is saying to do the fix properly, the pads, add in the thermal pads and the BIOS update is the proper fix for it. It's pointless doing one without the other. So
yes, yeah. So you couldn't just update the BIOS and expect it to do it. Yeah. Maybe Jay would do a video on it because he was one of the first ones to sort of on YouTube to do a big article on it. So I'd imagine if anyone's going to do it, it would probably be him. He's probably one of the better ones that I go to when it comes to stuff like computer works and. But if it's a matter that's obviously been resolved, then especially with the amount of GPUs, going back to it again, it's unbelievable amount of GPUs have been released.
They're flooding the market at the moment, aren't they?
Hundreds of them.
Buy them all, get them all.
The thing is, you buy one and it's out of date because they've just released another model, and there's been issues along. I mean, you've got NVIDIA with the was it the 970? Where they were saying it was 4 gigabytes and it was only 3.5 gigabytes. I think most of it's just nitpicking. It's just people looking at it and thinking, "Oh, what can I find?" Because you wouldn't notice it anyway. You wouldn't notice half a gigabyte on a 970. Really, it's just a case of we're in a society now where the slightest difference or the slightest fault on any product. People just naturally think that they can just go and say anything about it. But yeah, EVGA done the right way of handling that. Samsung, they could have handled it a little bit better. They did do, in all fairness to them, they did try and offer a resolution, but they could have tried to just do it sooner. I think if it was a situation like that for myself, I wouldn't even entertain the same battery again.
No.
Rather, because they kept the same battery when they did the replacements, but they changed a part in the board, which was designed to work like the what you get on your iPhones or the LGs, where it gets a certain temperature and it naturally dims everything down on the screen.
Oh, right.
It reduces your power output. My LG does it all the time. It heats a lot recently, to the point I've got heat bars on my screen now. Because I've just used it. It's a G3. It's
when did it back then?
About 3 years old now. But it does the job. That's it. I'm not one of these that will. It works for me. It does everything I need it to. Yeah, it's going to be. Overheating is a very common issue that we seem to be finding, but it all goes down to exactly what you said earlier. You can't get that sort of power in a smaller device without sacrificing something.
No.
You're going to get faults. Look at the new laptops, the high-powered laptops that are coming out with all the... They're literally like someone just taking your desktop off your computer and just screwed a screen to it.
That's it, yeah. Just cut a slice off it and made everything fit in there.
That's it, and I think if you're going to have high-powered stuff, you're going to have to sacrifice size. You either have a small product that's not as well-performing. Not in all cases. I mean, you've got Niqs, obviously, that are incredibly small, and they work really well. Well, people just need to lower their standards a bit, I think. It's
well, that's the world. That's the world these days.
Unfortunately, so yeah. Going on to the Rig Wars thing that I did. It's been 4 weeks now, so there's been quite a lot of voting on this one I did on the last show. I'm going to do the next show in 2 weeks and get back onto a normal schedule. The two winners of the last one were Dean Harrison and Todd Yates, and they have now been entered into the semi-final. They're the first two of round one. The ones that we're going to show next are this week's entrants. All you need to do, again, I know I've explained it every time, but all you need to do is if you see the video that you like, setup that you like, each of them are going to have a name and a number. You just simply put the name or the number in the comments below, and the two with the most votes by the time the next show's on will go into the semi-final, and then there'll be another round of that on the next week. After that, they'll go into a semi-final, and I'm going to try and get two winners from that. And it'll just do the same thing again, and then the final winner, I'm not sure what prize to give them yet. I think I've got a couple of companies that are interested in donating a prize, whether it be another case. I don't know, but I'll get that. There'll be a half decent prize for them. It's not just going to be something little like a couple of fans, or I'm going to make it worth a while. I am doing a giveaway very soon as well on the Thermaltake Core P3 or P5. Just trying to gauge which one's the more popular case. Because I want to give them what they want, basically, people what they want. I might even give them an option. I might even say the winner will get to choose a P3 or P5. And do it from that. But yeah, I mean, these are the entrants for this week. So, again, if you see any you like, leave a comment below. Right, and that's the entrance. So again, if you like any that you see, put a comment in below. If you want to share it around, simply share the video and then get people to enter. If your rig is in this, you can vote for yourself, that's absolutely fine. You can vote for as many as you want. Please don't be awkward and not vote for all 15. And then the winners will be announced in the next show. And that pretty much wraps it up for this show. I've not really got anything else that I can touch upon the topics this week that is in the news. There's nothing new that's really sort of controversial or striking me. Obviously Donald Trump and I'll leave the people with that.
There's nothing more I've got to add, or nothing more I'm allowed to say at the moment anyway. So.
No, that's true, yeah. Yeah, So, until next time, I've been Joe, this has been Adam, and it's nice to see you all, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.